What is up, boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, day traders, closet swing traders? Hope you guys are doing absolutely fantastic. Hope you guys are feeling good. We got AJ in the house. Good morning to you. Good morning to Albert, Amy, Bill, Dan, Gerlene's in the house. Good morning to you. Good morning to Jeff, John, Keith, Kevin, Lauren, Lucian, Lydia, Martina. Good morning to Michael. We got Michelle in the house. Good morning to Tim. All my people out in YouTube land. We got Daniel. We got Bijal. Good morning to you. All my lurkers in the background. I'm not gonna say nothing all day. It's okay. I still love you. Hit that like and subscribe button, but. Yeah. So Spy doing something they could not do yesterday. We'll see where this one wants to open. But we did have a target in there for our first resistance or next resistance, I guess, because obviously to get back up here, we've already blown through a whole bunch of resistances. But you have an okay one, somewhere around 609.04. And then we start to get into a little bit of like, okay, can it make it to the next level? We'll make it to the next one. But the next big one is 609.95. Let's see where we came in pre-market if we got up there at all. 609.49. So very close. Not there yet, but very, very close. And then anything that closes above, let's go with 610. If we get a 610 close, 610.04 actually, on the day for today, then the next target, and maybe with the momentum and everything else going crazy, maybe you got 612.25 for the bigger target for today. Q's already hitting the all-time highs. Spy very, very close to it, but we'll see what happens. All of yesterday, and we said this too yesterday. It was one of those days where it's like, yeah, we know it's a retest gap. We know it's probably going to bounce somewhere, and we just didn't didn't really get the bounce. I guess eventually when we got to the 605, 66 zone, we finally got the bounce. Close was just okay. I would have liked to see a little bit stronger of a close, but nonetheless, retest gap. And then we've been seeing this. We've been getting those gaps. So you get a big gap up. Market makers have a lot of fun. This one at least gave us some bullish moves, even though this candle looks strong. It was still like shaky and back and forth, and then strong close. But we've been seeing that. So today's another one. You're getting a gap up again. Yesterday was a retest gap, so there's still some bulls in this thing. I don't expect this thing to act as strong as if it was just a pure, like everybody was selling yesterday. I don't think that was the case. I think it was a profit taking day, and you have the bulls coming in. So I would still expect a little bit of a pullback today, especially ahead of that, what do we say, 609 zone. 609.04. So if we are able to somehow get above that pre-market or yeah, pre-market at open, then that gives us a little bit more momentum that this might actually act as a little bit stronger of a gap and go. Otherwise, I think we get a little chop. If we get pullback, the good news from yesterday, even though that VPOC was a tad lower, if we pull back the 607 in a little bit of a longer term sense, 607.18 should be relatively strong support at this point. So we will see what happens on that. We got the Qs. The Qs are almost gapping into all-time highs. We did gap into all-time highs yesterday. Again, makes kind of sense that every single person ever that to buy the Qs is profitable at open yesterday. At least one person probably might want to take some gains. So yesterday, even though red candle, we did sell off a little bit. It is just a retest gap. Q is still closing quite strong, stronger than the SPY. The fact that we close above 540.10, almost a perfect bounce spot on Qs, and Qs just look like they're still wanting to run. And again, if they do run, that should help the SPY as well. So we'll see what happens on that one. I don't really have targets to the higher side. Again, just like yesterday, is we're in uncharted territory, so we'll see. But the high of the day, obviously, we got some selling there. Psychologically, maybe some selling there. Otherwise, I think we break out. It is again, technically, it is a red candle, so there was some selling. You have the appearance of a gap and go, just not as strong. Maybe you get some chop first, and then you look to run on that one. BTC, oops, BTC, USD. Crypto had 3 days in a row. Right now it's a red candle. We'll see if that closes today as a red candle if we get some kind of a bounce. Good news on Bitcoin. The last resistance was somewhere around this 107.40. Bulls were able to take that out, so not bad there. They did just run into this 107.872. So a little bit of chop fest. We'll see if we can hold that support. Otherwise, the momentum still looks kind of bullish. We are letting some of those moving averages. We're not too far off those moving averages, but maybe a small resting day after three bullish days in a row. Otherwise, if the Bulls want to just step on that gas pedal, we got to get past this 107,872, and then you start approaching this 108,523 and big level 109,650. We'll see if we can get a close at some point above that one. I've got some tickers. You guys are lighting it up with tickers today. Palantir, I saw was up a little bit. Palantir looks like it still wants higher pricing. Uh, okay close yesterday, not bad. Again, a little bit lower than I would have liked to see that close. However, money or market makers today getting it right back above it. So anything above 143.01, and then we'll give it to the low end of or the VPOC from yesterday. Anything above 142.77, you have to remain bullish. You are gapping up almost above. You're right at the opening price from yesterday. See if there's a high wave candle on this one, or if we could open above the opening price of yesterday. I think that would set the bulls back in motion and at least to the high of the day yesterday, 147.66. So we'll see what happens if we get back up there. It's kind of looking like it probably will go a little bit higher from here. So Palantir is the train that just cannot derail itself. We got MU. So MU, kind of a wild day. Earnings were good. Uh, they've been good for a while. Historically, like we said yesterday, historically, the earnings have been decent. So they came in with a beat of 20%, almost 20%, 19.2% on earnings per share. They came in with an extra 437 million above expectations. So that looks good. If we look at the actual chart of what happens, we don't need the 6 day. Let's see, let's go to this one. So after hours, I think we got into like this 147 zone, 137. So we got into 137 last night as soon as the earnings came out, and then kind of doing that fade thing. I don't know. A lot of times they'll beat and then they will sell. This is also a retest gap. The market still looks okay. It's pulling back. I think we have PCE numbers today that came out. Um, and the market is just okay with it. It's pulling back a little bit on those numbers, so we'll see if the market can continue to be strong. But let's see any resistance in here. I've got no real volume. The next spot takes me to about 130.95. So it does have some room higher, but this is a retest gap after earnings. I'd be curious to see if there's a little fade. Again, it's got room bullish. I don't want to say that we're not going higher from here, but it kind of makes sense that we pull back into 127.88. Maybe we get back down to 126.87. A lot of times after earnings, and maybe it's the next day or two, but a lot of times after earnings, MU will fade. This is quite the momentum into this one. So I'd be curious to see if we pull back a little bit, look for those two levels. Anything past 126.77, and then I think you might have a little bit of a bigger pullback on this one, but still very strong. Don't want to discount the move. Still $2 higher from the close yesterday. Pretty solid. Does have some more room to go up higher, but we'll see how this one, if we get a little pullback first, maybe we can try it bullish if we're getting down to some of those zones. Otherwise, I kind of feel like I'm chasing a little bit because I could have got it like $70 about 3 weeks ago, hypothetically. Let's see. We've got Marvell. Well, that looks like a fantastic gap. Yeah, we've seen momentum coming in. Again, it is a gap and go because the candle yesterday is red. There was some sellers. That is quite the hammer right at the 200. Momentum has been creeping into this one. I've got nothing except for looks like one little level right about where we're opening, $76. $76.05. Again, it's a gap and go because the candle's red, but there was been some buying into it. This is more of a retest gap from yesterday. I like it long. I think we have not really a whole lot stopping us. Probably not today, 85.70, but next target probably about $80.17. If we climb above that, 81.67. Besides that, there's not a whole heck of a lot of volume. The next big volume is 81.26, and then you start getting into this like 89, 90 zone, 91. But yeah, I like it long, especially if it pulls back. If this one could pull back a little bit more, get as close as possible to that 200. You might have a longer term play on this one. Otherwise, we'll see how this one works. But that is a pretty solid looking gap on Marvell. The best, at least so far, we've only looked at three tickers, but the best so far. Tessie, Tessie, the most volatile nonsense in the entire market. Crazy. Um, well, you don't like to see us get below this candle. We've been going through this one in the mastery group. We were just talking about this one yesterday. Right now, again, so this is the chart we have. Uh, bullish flag, good bounce, still above this candle. All that volume that came in on that day, pretty outstanding. We came in with some kind of pennant pattern, looks good. You had the little breakout retest, good location as to where we retested, held, gap and go, ran like a madman. So there's a lot of people probably either in this thing that was building shorts in here. They got trapped on that breakout day. This is giving them opportunities to get out. So it looks still a little bit to the weaker side. It's not picking up bullish momentum, but I do like this spot a lot for some kind of support. And then one lower if we want to come down. We already got to that one yesterday. So watch this 320 zone, 320.57. The only other spot lower than this one would be somewhere around this 316.88. So have that on your hard stop list. If we start getting candles to close on the 316.88, there's a lot of room then to the downside. It will not look like it's looking that strong, especially taking this out. Otherwise, once you have those pennant patterns, a lot of times this is your breakout. This should be your retest right to the center of it. So I think you get fair risk to reward in a bullish direction here. It might not be completely bullish today, but starting some kind of a swing, I think you have a good risk reward on this one. So we'll see what happens on that one. But right now, and again, even pre-market a little bit ago was up to like, I don't know. I think we hit like 330 pre-market. Now it's starting to fade a little bit more. So we'll see where this one wants to open. I think Zoom the day is the same as yours now. All right, awesome. Using the SVP. All right, Lucian. TTD. I'm just skipping around on tickers. Yeah, they had I think it was a little bit of a downgrade today, I believe. Uh, trade desk cut to equal weight from overweight from Wells Fargo. And if there's one bank to trust, it is Wells Fargo. They would not just open accounts for people without them knowing or nothing like that. But yep, a little bit of a retest gap. However, yeah, I'm not loving this open. That is a very weak open on this one. Maybe a little support at 67.19. It is a little bit of a retest gap, so if you get some chop in here, I think even though it's a retest gap, I don't think I'd be looking bullish on this one unless somehow magically we open above 67.70. If we do, then you have your next spot to maybe look short 68.13, but looks a little weak as the market kind of looks decently strong, especially if the market does pull back. I think this one's probably at least coming to 65.28, and that could be your extended target for today, somewhere in there. But yeah, I like it a little bit more to the short side than to the long side for today. And if we can fill those gaps, that missed earnings gap, it looks like it came in with 40 million extra in revenue, but missed earnings, and you had a huge gap up on it, and it looks like we're trying to fade that down a little bit. But yeah, pretty interesting spot. It is a retest gap from yesterday. That was a bearish engulfing candle, so lots of bears stepped in. You might have to deal with some of them taking some gains, but other than that, yeah, that's a not a terrific open for it. All right, let me see. We got Apple. Apple. Get some of those lines off. Is okay at open. Nothing too crazy on it. Not a lot of edge one way or another. No like crazy gaps. It's been weaker. Um, you're above a little bit of a good support. The big one you got to get through. So you have resistance on this one, 201.41. And then you got support right where we're at now, but then one slightly lower from yesterday, 201.23. So high wave candle, very tight resistance, very tight support. Only thing I can say is watch to see if there is that high wave indecision. Give me some kind of indecision. Just looking at this thing, I'm full of indecision. So would make sense if we could get some kind of just 5 minute chop candle, depending on where it opens. So again, we just gapped up. If we could get some opening, let's go with 201.43. That might be 201.43 or higher. That might be in some incentive to for some bulls to kind of step in, and that would take us to about 201.77. We've been through that yesterday, so maybe we start hitting some higher levels. But other than that, yeah, we're just kind of hanging out for right now. I don't think there's a lot of edge on this one. And then again, if we're opening or start breaking, it's 201.23, I think to the short side. So wait and see what the market tells you they're going to do, and then that will give you room to kind of play that one. Otherwise, nothing too crazy. Lulu, 5 years, 5 year low on Lulu. I like it. I need another week down here at these levels. So I'm hoping it's like, I don't know, give me like $50 by next week. I'll be so happy. But it's cheap. It's the evaluation is very cheap on Lulu. Does that mean it can't go lower? No, it absolutely could go lower. That's a pretty death-defying gap that they had the other day, and it's just been all selling. You have one nice looking hammer. You did get some bulls to step in. Yesterday's close, again, not terrific. I would have liked to see us close kind of where we're opening now, but again, after hours, market makers pushing this thing a little bit higher. I like the open on this one. Give me a small, little, tiny pullback, and then I think your target is, I think you got risk reward in a bullish direction, but maybe it takes you like 235.64. If you could get past that, you have a really good trade in your hands. That's 239.95. We'll see if we get up there, but still good hammer. That's a good risk reward. Even yesterday's retest, that came into that retest from here, so everything looks like it's trying on Lulu. I'd be a little bit more bullish than bearish. However, if you guys start buying Lulu shares, then I'm not going to get a good deal next week. So, help me out a little bit. Maybe don't all rush in. Let's take some time on it. Let's go a little slower. But yeah, I did buy some Lulu this month, and I'm looking to buy some more at whatever price next month. And I will keep continuing to dollar cost average because I'm trying to build up a rather good position. I think it's one of the cheaper stocks in the market right now, for sure. I know competition. Nobody wears yoga pants anymore. I get it, but I'll take a shot that somebody's still buying some Lulu pants. Do we have anybody in here that's buying Lulu products? And guys, they also make a guy product line too, so it's not just exclusive to women. But we'll see. PNW, you got looks okay. It is a retest gap. Wait for this one to pull back a little bit. It does PNW does trade very strange throughout the day. Watch the spread on it too. Sometimes it gets a little spready, but if it pulls down to 203, it still looks healthy, bullish. I think we probably go higher from here. But if it pulls back at open, look for maybe somewhere around this 204.12. So you're not too far off. Biggest concern on this one for today is about 206. We'll call it yeah, we'll call it 206. If we get above 206, you do have one more level, which is psychological, but almost tweezer tops from February 19th, and that's 208.36. So I think this one does want to go higher. See if we get that small little pullback. I'm not looking for anything huge, and you might be able to establish a position and hopefully we'll break out of that 208, but that looks pretty fantastic as well. We'll keep that up there. We'll see how that one wants to work. SMCI. That one looks like it wants to go higher from here as well. Again, strong breakout day. Uh, we we'll go to AMD next, and we'll compare and contrast the breakout day chart. Obviously, this is a good move. Not as crazy as that one AMD, but AMD gapped up, closed, kept gapping up, closing red for 4 days in a row. Not sure if that happens here, but definitely a retest gap for sure. Big day. Um, I don't know if I would expect it. Also opening into a little bit of resistance right where we're at too. Give me a pullback on this one, 46.59. Otherwise, it looks like if we could get at any point past right where we're sitting now, let's call it 47.30. There really isn't much. Got all that volume behind you now. That looks good. I guess your bigger spot in a longer term picture that we have to clear through is 48.37. All right. I mean, and the short term of things, and back here, there is a little bit of consolidation, and we're gonna have to climb through that one. But otherwise, I think your next target is probably about $54 on SMCI. So maybe be buying pullbacks if it wants to give it to us. Very interesting location into a little chop from a while ago, back in October. So we'll see. Otherwise, you're looking for a pullback to 46.71 if you could get it, and we'll see what happens there. Let's see. We got Bijal says UNH, and I see PayPal on the list. UNH, you guys have been loving PayPal. I remember I was buying PayPal like a year and a half ago. Everyone was like, nah, PayPal's the worst dinosaur. It's going out of business. Competition, meh, meh, meh. And I'm like, I don't know. I kind of like PayPal. Now, also every day, you guys like PayPal. What about PayPal? Yeah, UNH is chilling for today. Not much momentum. Again, valuation is pretty good on it. Does that mean it's not going to go lower? No. If you want to establish a position, by the way, just because I mean you could get down to 276 again. You could surely get down to 263 again. Those are all potentials. But for the long term, just have a budget that you're able to spend every single month. If you are whatever your budget is for this month, if you're like, hey, you know what, I like UNH here. I think over the long term, 10 years, price probably higher from here. This is a great starting position. Right? If you can start here somewhere, it's either you go up and you're like, cool, I've made money, or it goes down, and then next month you got the same deposit. You're just kind of building out your positions, kind of like what I'm doing. And I own some UNH from 260, I think I picked it up. But yeah, Lulu doing the same thing. It doesn't matter. Like if especially if you're just starting a position, you're really hoping by next month this thing is at 267 or 276. You're hoping is that like you want to be losing money because you're just building your positions out. So valuation is fairly good here. We do know the CEO came in, caused this little mayhem rally. Haven't really done much. Not a lot of momentum today. So for day trading, probably not going to be on my list for today. But if it could get above 303.63, fantastic. If not, support is 301.93. You want to see that hold for today. Let's take a look at that PayPal. And then we got a hood on the list too. Uh, PayPal is chilling for now. Immediate support 73.53. If it can't hold that, look for 73.23, and then your resistance is right above you as well. 73.77. Yesterday was a little bit of a bearish engulfing candle. You're still inside day from yesterday. Let's see if we get a little bit of a bigger pullback, but right now we're holding at least support from June 6th. To the higher side on this one, we did not hit this one yet. That's 74.54. That's probably your bullish target for today if it could pick up some steam. But inside day, I'd want any inside day candle I'm trying to buy is just as low as possible. Let's take a look at Hood real quick, aka Mr. Momentum, and VPOC closed higher than the previous, so they're still bidding this price higher. We are opening above yesterday's VPOC. Something tells me this one is a quick one, like the market opens and it runs and you got to be in there taking like pre-market breakouts, something like that. For today, no real levels higher that I have, so it's only psychological at this point, which, well, we did open yesterday at $85. Look for that to be your target. You start getting slightly above it, 85.50, and then anything past that, your guess is as good as mine. I've got no clue on that one, but all of this red candle was just a retest. People taking some gains and freeing it up for more bulls to step in. So probably a quick one. CYN is below your $5 rule, but is not overnight. Yeah. Actually, if you well, first of all, yeah, so that $5 rule, that's for day trading purpose. You could definitely swing trade something that's $1.20. There's opportunities for some swing trades on this one. They're a little bit of an interesting story. I think they had a press release where they mentioned Nvidia, if I'm not mistaken. Quite the gap. Yeah, so now you are in tr day trading territory. There is going to be a lot of volume on it. I think the volume is typically low, but today might be different. But yeah, essentially they put out like a flyer, like it says Nvidia, and people love it. So, but you had some buying already step in yesterday. I don't know if you have I don't know what the long-term momentum of this thing's going to be, but this to me is up massive. Lots of buying came in yesterday and look for at least a pullback, I think to 1329. So is it shortable? I think it is, but 1329 would be your target to the downside, and then there's a very big possibility that this I'm not chasing this one bullish here. I know their flyer says Nvidia on it, but they're not gonna no, they're not getting me on this one. SEDG is up a lot today. So nice little move on SEDG. I think Meta said they're going to work on building out some solar options to give themselves some power. So again, solar's been struggling for a long time. We had this big gap down overnight. This came in June 17th, but that was basically saying that in the bill they're looking to cut subsidies. I think they're going to start phasing it out by was it 2028, I think. So no more government subsidies, but now you have Meta coming in to say, you know what, we might be using some solar. So solar's getting a nice little boost. SEDG, I think, is the bigger boost today, but look for resistance on this one, $20.80. You're not too far away from that. And then the higher target would be about $20.98. See if this will get some movement, but you've had now a few days. I think you might have some bag holders. I'm one of them. I still got some options on it. But and I think I got it right on this day. Yeah, so I picked it up on June 16th. Absolute worst timing. Then they come out and go, yeah, we're gonna start phasing out subsidies. I was like, well, that would have been useful yesterday. But yeah, especially if you bought the dip, you're looking pretty good so far. Otherwise, there is some resistance. There might be some bag holders, but those bag holders probably gonna be sitting a lot higher to that 23, 23. Everything on a technical basis looked fantastic. And the news clapped me overnight, but it's coming back, so it's all right. Although other than that, yeah, watch that resistance if we can get past it. But at least you have some good news starting to creep into solar. FSLR, I think, is also moving a little bit. I think would be a little. I think it might be a little insulting if we don't cover Nvidia and AMD today. So let's get to those guys. Nvidia is gapping to all-time highs. So I know fear panic was back here when it got down to like $87, and then everyone's like, okay, market's crashing, and then about 2 months later, back to all-time highs. I didn't know if we were going to get up here, but we did it. Retest gap, see if this thing wants to pull back. No targets higher, but if you could buy it, if you're trying to, still buying it high at this point, but 153.49. Other than that, that is the morning bell. So everybody in YouTube land, make sure you guys hit that like and subscribe button. Other than that, you guys are awesome, and I'll catch you guys tomorrow. Later, guys.